The I need to think about it killer. In this video, I'm going to tell you how the I need to think about it frame kills more deals than ever. Now, I'm not going to tell you just how it kills more deals because that's not going to help you. I'm also going to share with you how to prevent it from happening in the first place during any sales conversation and how to deal with it if it actually comes up. My name is Jessen James. Over the last 10 years, I've been able to help sales professionals all across the world to generate more sales in their business without actually having to sell a thing. I'm an ex-psychiatric nurse by trade. I've personally generated over 22 million in sales using these methodologies, and my clients have gone on to use these methodologies to generate over 200 million and growing in their businesses right now. And I want to impart this knowledge on you, partly because as a nurse, I want to give back and I want to help people, but also I know that sales professionals all across the world make people's lives better. So if you carry on following me, if you carry on subscribe to my videos, if you hit that notification bell, if you comment, if you engage, it gives me the energy to create more videos like this so I can help you guys, all right? So let's get stuck into it. Why does I need to think about it kill more deals? Well, let's just put it into perspective. Business owners, sales professionals, sales leaders, whoever you are, think about it. We spend so much time prospecting. When I say prospecting, that could be from running ads to cold calling people, to nurturing them, to getting them to the point where they're going to have a sales conversation with you, right? Now, that varies in different industries, but let's be perfectly honest. Everyone needs to get people into some form of sales conversation. Now, a lot of effort goes in to getting to that point where someone even wants to give you their time to have a sales conversation with you, right? So here's the thing. Most sales professionals up and down the country right now are allowing the prospect to say, I need to think about it. And they're also letting them get away with it. And then we don't hear from them again. So let me explain why it kills so many deals. Do you actually think your prospect, when they put down the phone, is going to think about it? No, just hear me out on this. Do you genuinely think that the minute they put the phone down, they're going to go, I must continue thinking about Jessen and his offer? No, they're getting on with their life. Using I need to think about it might be true, but most cases isn't. It's a smokescreen, and you've allowed them to sell you. So as that saying goes, right? Sell or be sold. And that's what's happened in this situation. And it kills so many deals. Why? Because they are not thinking about you when they get off the phone. And then you end up chasing them and looking desperate to follow up. And before you know it, it's an absolute mess and a waste of time because you've lost the power the minute you start chasing a prospect. Think about it. So it kills so many deals. And I want to help you in this video to prevent it from happening and deal with it if it comes up. So let's break it down into first, how do we prevent I need to think about it from happening? Well, let's go right back. In my invisible sales method, by the way, I talk about a stage in that called cultivate. And what does cultivate mean? Cultivate basically means the pre-sale. You need to cultivate a lot of information to do with yourself as well as your prospect. This is important in that first pre-sale phase. Before you even get on a phone, before you even reach out, before you even speak to someone about your product or service, you must put certain steps in place. And one of those steps are criteria. Now, criteria, pre-qualification, is something that a lot of salespeople are afraid of. This is very, very common in big sales floors where you're selling, I don't know, real estate or insurance or whatever it is. They're speaking to anyone who's got a pulse and a checkbook. They've been given instructions. If someone's breathing, sell them something, right? That's hard, man. That is hard. And I understand it happens in certain industries, and I know why people do it, but those sales teams tend to burn out quicker. The turnaround is very, very quick, and people don't really enjoy what they do, right? So I don't want you to do that. If you want to do that, I'm not your guy, okay? What I'm more interested in doing is talking to people who actually have a problem that I can solve. So how do you prevent I need to think about it from happening before it even comes up is right at the beginning, okay? You should be having some criteria before you meet with someone or have a call with them. For example, one of the most important criteria that you need to ask someone is a motivation test. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not now, 10 being absolutely, How motivated are you to invest in solving your problem right now? Now, if someone is anything less than a 10, there's always going to be a chance that they're going to want to think about it on your call. Your goal is to get to the point where you only speak to people who are 10 out of 10. Now, look, don't get me wrong. In your early days, you want to try and speak to people who are 8s and 9s still because you can still win that deal over. But I've got to the point where unless you're a 10 out of 10, I don't want to talk to you. And let me explain why. Because it doesn't matter how powerful you are, how great your offer is, how amazing you are in presenting what you do. If they jump on a call 9 out of 10, that 10% of negativity is more powerful than the 90% of positivity. That small 10% is still a little back door to let them out and go and say, I need to think about it, which basically means I won't speak to anyone unless they're 10 out of 10. Because I know I've been doing this so long that I just know. What's the point? Okay. So unless they're a 10 out of 10, don't want to talk to them, in my opinion. You might change it in your business, but for me, that's one way of removing I need to think about it. And if it comes up, I've got the 10 out of 10 motivation on their form to go back to them and hold the mirror up and go, hey, I'm a bit confused because before we spoke, you told me you were 10 out of 10 motivated to solve it today. And now you're telling me to go and think about it, right? Cool, okay? So anyway, comes down to the pre-qualification, okay? Make sure there's some form of urgency on their end before they even show up on the call, okay? Now, how do you prevent it from happening during the call? Now, during the meeting, you need to be aware of all the common objections that might come up. And you see, when I look at a lot of sales professionals, I see them dealing with objections at the end of a conversation, which is fine because let's be perfectly honest, you're always going to get some form of objection. It's not often that people go, hey, yeah, take my money, I'm in. Like there's always going to be some questions or something going on at the end, okay, in most situations. So here's the thing though, why wait for most of them to come up? You already know what they are. I need to think about it is one of them, right? I need to speak to my partner is one of them. I don't have enough time. It's expensive. You know the drill. There's so many common objections that pop up. So I need to think about it is one that you know comes up all the time. So what should you be doing when you're having your sales conversation with the prospect? You should be creating that sense of urgency and dropping seeds of why they need to do something about it today. For example, asking the prospect something like, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, you've told me that these are the challenges that you're facing right now. May I ask you a question? Where do you see yourself 12 months from now if we don't fix it today? Okay, I'll say that again. You've just told me about the challenges that you're going through, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect. Where do you see yourself 12 months from now if we don't fix it today? Think about that, okay? I'm helping them see that they need to do something about it today. But I'm not telling them that. They're telling me. They're telling me in their own words where they're going to be 12 months from now if they don't fix it today. Fix it today. I want them to fix it today, okay? So these are subtle ways of doing it now to eliminate the I need to think about it. Now, I'm not saying it won't come up, but you're killing it off early on, right? So when you do this more, what happens is when you get to the close, it may not even come up, but if I need to think about it comes up, you've got all this ammunition to use, okay? You've got the motivation test. You told me 10 out of 10 that you wanted to do something about this and solve your problem. You've also told me on the call that in 12 months' time, you're not going to have a business anymore if you don't do something today. Please tell me what's changed, right? It helps you. It helps you deal with that at the end. I'll come on to that in a moment, okay? So we want to put in little seeds and cues to help them kill that I need to think about it, okay? You want to make sure that you handle this objection as much as you can before it even comes up. Another way you can do that is by sharing case studies, sharing examples of clients who also potentially needed to think about it, but made a decision there and then, and now look where they are. For example, I can tell you stories of my clients, for example. Some of my clients have jumped on calls before without even having a sense of urgency. I was able to create one on the call and they didn't even think about it. They just said, you know what, I'm in, let's do that. And you know what? They're making tens of thousands of pounds later, okay? So what you can do in your call is use some specific examples or case studies of clients of yours that have had to think about it, and you were able to help them not to need to think about it because they got all the information that they've got right now. They did the deal with you. They're in such a great place after doing that, and they actually thank you for helping them to buy in the first place, okay? So sharing social proof and case studies of examples of people who are in a similar position, that massively, massively helps as well, all right? What you don't want to do is try and make the client feel that you're putting words in their mouth, okay? You don't want to make the client feel backed into a corner or pressured, because when that happens, either they run away completely or they do buy and then they experience what's called buyer's remorse, okay? You've had that before, you know, where someone's pressured you into buying something and then you bought it and then afterwards you felt like really bad and dirty, like someone had done something wrong to you, like, oh man, that person ripped me off. Okay, you don't want your prospect to feel that. Okay, who wants to be the company where people feel dirty after buying from them? Nobody does. Okay, so you don't want to do that. All right. Now, look, those are just some examples that you can use to prevent it from coming up. Okay, you can use the motivation test at the beginning. You can create some urgency during the conversation. You can help them to see where they're going to be in 12 months if they don't do something different today. You can use case studies around your clients that didn't think about it and just said yes and got the results. You decide, okay? These are things that you can use. Now, what if we get to the end of the conversation and the prospect says, I need to think about it? What do we do? Well, I'll tell you what not to do. It still shocks me how many salespeople do this. And this isn't me bashing, but I have to speak out about this. How many sales trainers still teach this stupid reply? Let me explain something. When someone tells you I need to think about it, and your response is what do you need to think about? When you do this, you are creating conflict with the prospect immediately. I don't care who you are, anyone who teaches someone to say, well, what do you need to think about, is a numpty. And I'm being very, very honest with you. Why would you create conflict with your prospect? Imagine this. You've done a great pre-sale. You've teed up the call. Remember, the frame of how someone gets onto the call is more important than the call itself. So you've done all this hard work here. Now you're on the call. You've had a brilliant call. You've established what their problems are. You've explored what they want. You've explored what they've tried already. You've diagnosed their problem. You've prescribed a cure. You've got a commitment from them to move forwards. You go into the close, and then you start a fight with the prospect. How stupid is that? So I don't want you to push back on someone and go, well, what do you need to think about? Okay? Don't do that, because that's just dumb. Here's what I want you to do instead. When someone still says, I need to think about it, I want you to agree. Agree with them. Look, nobody likes being challenged. See, when you agree with someone, you're meeting them where they're at, which basically means there's no friction and there's no conflict. Now, this will do one of two things. In fact, it'll probably do both. Number one, it will throw the prospect, because the prospect is expecting you to say no. The prospect is expecting you to come back with what do you need to think about and start an argument, okay? They're expecting all of that. So it neutralizes the situation, because they're like, okay, this person isn't going to fight with me, right? The second thing it does, it makes them feel heard and listened to, because that's what people want. So when someone says, I need to think about it, even though you've done all of this stuff, your goal is to agree. I agree. If I were in your shoes, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, and we just went through what we've just gone through, I'd probably want to go and think about it too. Okay, that's the first step, all right? The next thing you're gonna do is reframe what's going on. Give the need to think about it frame a new meaning, okay? Or help the prospect to see that is absolute nonsense. There's nothing they need to think about right now. There's something else going on. So here's what I would do, okay? Remember, I've spoken to someone who's 10 out of 10 motivated to investing in solving their problem today. They've told me that if they don't fix their problem today, this is going to go wrong, right? So all I'm going to say is something like, I agree. If I were in your shoes right now, going through what we've just gone through, I'd probably need to go and think about it too. And here's the thing, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, just help me to help you, and I'm happy for you to go and think about it. Help me to help you before you go. Before you came onto this call, I can see on your file here, you've told me that you're 10 out of 10 motivated to investing in solving your problem today. During our conversation, you've also highlighted to me that should we not solve your problem today, this is where you're going to be in 12 months' time, which is not a great place. may I ask you, at some point during our conversation, has the desire to fix your problem today changed? And then shut your mouth. That's it. I've just recapped on the ammo that I've got, and I'm just asking to help me to understand you. Happy to go and think about it, it's fine, but help me to understand you. Has your desire changed? That's all, okay? And I'm listening out, because I guarantee you, they're not going to say no. They're not going to say, like, sorry, they're not going to say, yes, my desire's changed. They're going to say, no, my desire's still the same. I still need to solve my problem. Great, because then that allows me to bridge back into the close. So, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, before you go, be honest with me. What's really going on and what really needs to happen for you to solve your problem today? How can we work together? All I'm trying to do here, my friend, is move away from the need to think about it to what's really going on. Hopefully, if you've done everything correctly, here's what will happen. They'll be honest with you. They'll either say it's the price. They'll even say, look, my partner's involved, whatever. I just want to get to the truth, because in objection handling, the best thing you can do is understand that most people are using objections as a smokescreen, and your goal is to just get to the truth. And the more you make your prospect feel comfortable, the more you make them drop their shoulders and relax, the more you make them feel connected and heard and not pressured and backed into the corner, the more open they'll be with you. If they've got their back up, they're not going to be honest with you. They just want to get off the call because they don't like you or they don't want to buy from you. I want my prospect to win. I also want to win. So the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if I'm comfortable with them and they're comfortable with me, and I open up a safe space where they can be honest with me. And by asking them the truth, I can help them. So at this point, you'll probably get the real reason why they needed to go and think about it. And the real reason is they're either fearful, it's to do with a lack of decision making, or there's some uncertainty going on. We just want to know what's going on, right? And if it's a money thing, fine. Let's help them, because at the end of the day, you can only help your client or your prospect if you know what the actual truth is, okay? So that, my friends, is how you handle I need to think about it, the killer of most deals. The goal is to stop it from happening in the first place, or to slow it down or take away its power whenever they bring it up. If you can get good at doing that, if it does come up, you can agree with them, you can reframe it, and you can bridge back into your close. It's very, very simple. But this stuff takes practice, my friends, okay? Look, what I'm sharing with you isn't built into you. It's not second nature. To me, my clients, my students, my team, is second nature to us because we just do this on autopilot. Remember, we're at the unconscious competence phase where we just do it naturally on autopilot. If you're not used to doing this stuff, chances are you're going to mess it up. Chances are you're going to be clunky. Chances are you're going to struggle with it. And the best way to solve that and fix that is to get some hand-holding, some mentorship, and some guidance, and role play with a group of people who are doing this day in, day out. And you know what? That's me. I'd love to work with you. If you're watching this right now and you've got value from anything that I've shared with you, I want to help you. And I have a program called the Closing Incubator. It's my signature 12-week one-to-one mentoring program where I personally hold your hand and guide you through every single element of my invisible sales method. It's the art of actually selling without selling. It's the art of teeing up a close and your prospect doesn't even know it's happening. It's the art of getting people to say yes without having to actually sell to them. It is beauty in its purest form when it comes to selling. And no one in the world is delivering this stuff apart from me. Why? Because it's not just based on my knowledge in psychiatry. It's based on psychology. It's based on how people behave. And it's based on years of experience and freaking results. So if you want in on this, I have some scholarship available right now, some scholarship funding to fund a big chunk of your tuition on the Closing Incubator program. It's not for beginners and it's not for startups. You must already be closing and selling, whether that's closing for someone else, whether that's working as a sales professional in a company, whether that's running your own business and closing your own products, or managing a team of people who are closing right now. If you are not any of those, please do not apply because you will be rejected immediately. So if you want a free application to have a conversation about how we can get you funded onto the closing incubator for 12 weeks working one-to-one with me, just comment the word closing down below and my team will send you a link on how to apply, and I will personally screen your application, and then I'll be in touch to see how I can help you, because I just want to see you win, man. That's all I want to see you do. All right, we need to start thinking differently. We are not in the Stone Ages anymore where you bully people into buying from you. We're not in the Stone Ages where you knock on 100 doors and hope someone says yes. You've got to be more elegant these days. You've got to be a better conversationalist. You've got to be more tactical in what you do. And the best way to do that is to understand yourself and also understand your prospect. Because at the end of the day, unless you're selling to cats and dogs, you're selling to human beings. And if you understand human behavior and if you understand what influences people, you can ultimately influence people. Think about that, okay? My name's Jessen James. It's been an honor sharing this on this particular episode. If you haven't done so already, hit subscribe, smash that notification bell. Let me know your thoughts below. What did you think about this? I need to think about it killer. You're going to use it? Look, whether you work with me or not is entirely up to you. I just want to see you win. What I'd love to see you do is use this stuff. So either comment closing down below or closer down below. Comment down below. Let me help you. Or use what I've taught you in this video. Tag me on Instagram once you got a result from it, because I'd love to know. All right. Until next time, I wish you all the wealth, health, success, and happiness that you truly deserve. And I'm rooting for you as always.